There's a pretty big difference in the clothing and the outfits that we wear in the summer versus the fall. And I was thinking about this the other day as I begin to pull out my warmer clothes. Although it has been a pretty beautiful fall here in Toronto and relatively warm. But it had me thinking about the style mistakes that I've seen and that I've made over the years. So in this video, I wanted to cover 10 style mistakes that are common in the fall and how to avoid them. As I said, I've made most of these mistakes, if not all of them at some point, and these will mostly apply to places where the weather cools down this time of year. Also, these are general rules of thumb. There are exceptions, so use your discretion. And with that said, let's dive into it. But before we do, I'm Nick, and welcome to my channel where I discuss Gents style and lifestyle. This channel is a creative passion of mine, and I talk about elegant and elevated fashion and lifestyle, so if that interests you, click subscribe. Mistake number 1 is wearing summer-weighted fabrics in the cooler weather. Summer fabrics are intentionally lighter weight in order to keep you cool and dry in the hot weather. These are fabrics like lightweight linens and seersuckers, thin cotton jerseys, and lightweight chinos. Especially as we begin to layer these fabrics, they just won't sit well under our heavy outerwear and will look incongruent with the rest of our outfit. You're also going to be cold. So instead, we want to add some texture and density to our fall outfits. This means swapping out lightweight pieces for things like Oxford and cotton flannel for shirting, merino roll necks and Shetland crew necks for knitwear, corduroy, moleskin, and wool flannel for trousers, and heavy jersey for base layers. These materials retain heat, maintain shape beneath coats, and visually harmonize with tweed, camel hair, and other fall fabrics. Mistake number 2, and it's an easy one to make, and that's ignoring weatherproofing. Failure to weatherproof materials like suede and leather, whether it's your jacket or your shoes, will lead them to being destroyed in the rough weather, especially if it snows. Precipitation and road salt can easily cause stains and cracking, and for your shoes especially, it can lead to decreased traction, which may lead to increased wear or cause you to slip and fall. So, to ensure this doesn't happen, you need to make sure you protect your fabric. Buy a hydrophobic spray and then ensure your clothing item is clean, and then apply the spray to the item. Give it a good coat, especially on high exposure areas, and then let it cure for about 12 to 24 hours. You may need to respray it every 4 to 6 wears depending on how much you're exposing it to harsh weather. To care for smooth leather and prevent it from drying or cracking, especially after wet or salt exposure, wipe it with a damp cloth to clean it, and then let it dry. Then apply a small amount of conditioner and rub it in. It's optional, but you can add a cream polish after that to help restore the color and to fix minor scuffs. This really helps liven up and preserve your suede and leather clothing throughout the fall and into the winter. Mistake number 3 I see people making is wearing the incorrect trouser length with your boots. I can't tell you how many times I've seen men's trousers so short I can almost see the top of their boot. Or they are so slim and skinny that when they pair them with a large boot, it just doesn't look right. When wearing boots, it's important to ensure that the trouser length properly comes down to cover the shaft of the boot. In the summer, you can get away with shorter hems with less of a break and slimmer pants because our shoes are smaller, but when you pair them with a boot, it just looks silly. I made this mistake once, not really thinking, and it was pretty awkward because when I sat down, almost my entire boot was exposed. So you may need to go longer on hems with your winter clothing to ensure that your boot's covered. Mistake number 4 is wearing summer shoes in the autumn cooler weather. Whether it's white canvas sneakers or mesh runners, boat shoes or espadrilles, or God forbid sandals, your fall footwear should not be the same as your airy footwear that you wore on patios in July. These materials soak up water, they stain easily, and they just look silly next to heavier fall textures. They're also not going to keep your feet warm or provide you any traction in the wet weather, and they just look out of season. Instead, swap out the summer footwear for durable fall boots and sneakers. So chukka boots, derby shoes, suede sneakers, and loafers with thicker leather or rubber soles. I've mentioned this before on this channel, but there are some shoe companies out there that will actually tell you what season a shoe is made for, so keep an eye out for that. It's very helpful. Mistake number 5 is maybe less of a mistake and more of a missed opportunity, and that's wearing flat outfits. Fall is the time of the year to bring out the textures. If you stick with head-to-toe solids without any pattern, it may look fine, but you're just missing out on all the great textured fabric that you can wear in the cooler months. Fall fabrics are matte and they're dense, so take full advantage and add some to your outfit. Try to introduce one pattern or high textured element to your wardrobe and let it do the talking. It could be a houndstooth or a gun check sport coat, a chalk stripe flannel trouser, a tattersall or a brush check shirt, a Fair Isle knit, tweed jacket, or even a ribbed beanie. There are so many options out there, so take full advantage of it. Mistake number 6, and this is a big one, not layering properly. Once again, I can't tell you the number of times that I've seen people just throw anything and everything on, no matter the size and no matter what works or what doesn't work with each other. Yes, you have flexibility with your fall layering, but it needs to work. We want to layer properly, so think a fitted base layer like a t-shirt or a long sleeve, a trimmed mid layer like a cardigan or a quarter zip or a flannel overshirt, and then maybe more of a relaxed outerwear piece like a wax jacket or a wool overcoat. And ensure the mid layer doesn't protrude out from underneath the outer layer. Learning how to layer properly is important, especially for this time of year when the mornings are cool, but the days are warm. Mistake number 7, let's talk denim, and that is wearing too light denim in the fall. Light summery denim like pale washes, it looks odd next to heavier fall textures and footwear. For autumn, shift to darker denim like dark indigo, charcoal, or black. Any of those will pair well with flannel, tweed, and any top coat. Aim for a straight or gentle taper. Again, we don't want to go too slim and then it looks odd with a pair of large boots. They need to be able to cover the boot, so keep the hem longer. You can always do a rolled up look. I always thought that looked nice with a pair of boots. Pair it up with flannel and merino socks and you'll be nice and warm. Mistake number 8, and this is a common one, and that's an ill-fitting top coat. It's unfortunate, but for some reason, it often doesn't cross people's mind that you may need to tailor your top coats. And it's so important that you do, or find one that fits off the rack, because this will be the first thing that people will see. The most common issue that I see is incorrect sleeve length. Either too long and it covers most of your hand, or too short and I can see what's underneath. A good rule of thumb is to have the coat sleeve come down to just the beginning of the thumb. That way, when you move around, it won't ride up as much and it will still keep you warm. You should also pair it with a nice pair of gloves. Take it to the tailor if it's too long or too short and see what they can do. And the other tip I have is that ensure that there's enough space underneath to fit a sweater. I'm guilty of doing this one. I've bought coats that are too tight that I can only fit a t-shirt or a long sleeve underneath. Don't do that, it defeats the purpose. For the shoulders, ensure the shoulders align with the natural edge of your shoulder to prevent divots, and then aim for something that at least hits mid-thigh to the top of the knee. Mistake number 9, and this is a bit of a picky one, and that's using fragrances that are too fresh or summery in the fall. Citrus, aquatic scents that felt perfect in July can clash with autumn's heavier textures and cooler, dry air. Fresh notes evaporate more quickly in low humidity, leaving you scentless. So opt for warmer scents like woods, ambers, tobacco, leather, spice, incense, or vanilla, and prefer EDP, eau de parfum, or extrait parfum, over EDT, which is eau de toilette, for a better cling in the cold air. These are just the different types of cologne. EDP and extrait have a higher concentration of the aroma scents, so they last longer, and that's why they're better for the cooler weather. Just be careful and avoid overspraying, especially with sweet or smoky notes. Perhaps carry an atomizer, as I mentioned in my Gents EDC video. They're helpful if you need to top up on the go. And finally, mistake number 10, no seasonal color switch. Summer is for lighter, more vibrant colors, but as we move into the fall, the weather becomes darker and so does our color palette. We don't want to mix randomly too, or else the whole outfit will start to look chaotic. The best thing to do is to build a fall capsule wardrobe with a fall color palette in mind. So for example, maybe you pick up 2 foundational pieces like charcoal trousers and a navy coat, or navy trousers with a camel coat. And then you add in 1 earth tone like an olive, forest, chocolate, or tobacco sweater. And then 1 accent like cream, ecru, rust, or a burgundy scarf. You could play around with it a bit and just see what you like best. Last tip is to keep leathers in the same family, so black with black and brown with brown. It just looks more cohesive that way. Fall truly is the best time of the year for fashion, and if you just keep those tips in mind, then you'll look great. Let me know what additional tips you would add in the comments below, and thank you for watching.